Give everybody a couple more minutes, guys, till we get going. Just want to say thanks for everybody coming. It's just about 8 o'clock. We'll wait a few more, see who trickles in here. But just an introduction, I'm Coach Greeno. It's pronounced Greeno. It looks like Grignon. Okay, second G, second N are silent. I'm sure most of you were saying Grignon probably the last couple days. So it's a good place to start, I think. All our players, anytime we're in a meeting or anything like this, take your hats off, sit up straight. Okay, no slouching. If you're tired, you can go to bed as soon as we go home. Right, Zach? We'll wait one more minute. Can everybody hear me, guys? Okay. Tried keeping my list short. I'm known to get long-winded, and then as the day went, it just kept growing. So I'm going to be quick as I can for you. First thing, guys, like I said, Alex Greeno. I'm super excited to be here. I kind of feel like a broken record. I've said it to a lot of people the last couple days. Born and raised in Dearborn, Michigan. Played football at Dearborn High School. I was fortunate enough to play for my dad, who's a lifelong coach himself. He's a future inductee to the MHSA Hall of Fame. We just found out last year, so that was pretty exciting for us. Grew up on a sideline. I was the water boy, kind of like the little girl from Remember the Titans. I was more into the game than playing with the water, shooting it around, things like that. I was very fortunate in that regard. And as far as a player, the benefits that had was, 13 years growing up before you hit high school as a 14-year-old, I got to see leaders on the sideline. You got to see teams that were successful, kind of what those teams acted like, how they behaved, the type of unity they had that it took. And then at the same time, you saw those negatives. You saw those teams that had the individuals that, put the me before the we, things like that. I don't want to be a super cliche person, but very motivational speaker type guy. If I'm driving out to practice or something, I'll throw a motivational speaker on the YouTube, kind of re-motivate yourself. I've told people before, motivation's like showering. It's recommended daily, and you need to do it from time to time just to stay motivated there. Showers don't last very long, and sometimes that motivation dies as well. Obviously, it's a very exciting time for me and my family. It was a great opportunity. I couldn't be happier to be here. With that said, before we get into that, I know there's a lot of excitement around here waiting for a coach, and I'm hoping I make everybody happy filling that void for you going forward. With that said, at the end of the day, this is a huge football program, ton of tradition, a lot of success, high expectations. Just to put things in perspective, though, there was a tragedy that struck our program not long ago. I wasn't very fortunate enough to get to know Justin, obviously. But, at the end of the day, this is high school football. And life's a lot bigger than high school football will ever be. And anytime you're tired or you don't really feel like going to practice, you're not sure if you got it in you to keep going, get that paper done, things like that. Just remind yourself, don't take anything for granted, right? Be thankful for every day. Every day you get out of bed is another opportunity to go ahead and be great at something. So to pay respects to Justin. We've talked about as a staff what we're going to do. We're going to get a flag printed. It's going to have a big old 93 on it, big blue flag, say Forever a Warrior at the bottom. As a team, we're going to bring that with us to practice every day. We'll have a stand on the sideline. We're going to carry it out proudly to every game, home and away, and that'll be there for us going forward. It's something little we can do, but we'll honor him. Coach Weiskopf and I just talked. We're kind of going to keep that 93 exclusive for him, and no one else in the program will be able to wear that for the foreseeable future. That is Justin's number now and hopefully forever. moving on, a little housekeeping things. If everybody wants to get their cell phone out real quick, take my number down. You know, I'm as open as I can be. Things have been going real fast the last couple of days. I realized how many people's numbers I don't have saved in my phone. Just kind of gave that generic response, hey, thank you very much. Hope to see you soon. Let's get together sometime. And I was just hoping I was saying it to the right people. But it's 313-300-0569. And any questions, concerns, comments going forward, you know, direct those toward me, please. You know, and give Coach Weisskopf a break a little bit here for the next couple months. So. Getting down to business here. Like I said, I'm gonna try to stay as short as. What's that? My email? Yeah. Oh, sorry. It's pretty simple. I just made it the other day as soon as I got the job. WLW football coach @gmail. And one of our coaches made a joke. He said that'd be something if you had to pick WLW football coach 2 @gmail. So luckily we didn't run into that problem there. You know, just a little bit about myself. You know, I like to have fun. You know, I'm super energetic. I'm passionate about the game. You know, my whole life has been surrounded by the game. My family's been on pause during football season as long as I can remember. You know, I thank my wife for giving me the opportunity to coach high school football. Obviously, it doesn't pay the bills at home. We're out here because we love it. We love kids. We like developing young men. And she takes the single-parent role for a couple months for me for our 3 kids. I got a 10, 7, and 5-year-old at home, so. You know, just some goals and rules that I've lived by, and you know, my father's passed down to me, you know, and I'll get into this story later. My father-in-law, I actually played college football for at Northern Michigan University. He also had that rule, you know, and it was very simple priorities, and you know, it's faith, family, football. I kind of think and believe faith and family go hand in hand. You know, whatever your faith is, whatever you believe, whatever keeps you your moral compass centered and makes you make the right decisions, that's going to be priority number 1 always going forward. You know, and I'm fully in support of that. Anything that comes up, you know, if there's issues or problems, reach out to me. See if I can help. That's what I'm here to do. You know, like I said, life's a lot bigger than the game of football. You know, we're here to develop young men. Obviously, we want to turn them into as good of athletes as we can, but kind of the Coach D from Michigan State, any Michigan State fans here, you know, his philosophy was, you know, he turned that culture around at Michigan State because they weren't worried about getting the biggest recruit, the biggest name, the most popular guy that's coming with a lot of baggage. He was recruiting the right guys for his program and the right people he could develop, bring forward, and once they started buying into becoming better men, obviously, you can see the results the last 10 years over in East Lansing. The football program just improved as a whole. You know, it brings me to the next point I was taught by my father-in-law as well. You know, as far as being a man, everything's related, right? If I'm going to practice and I skip the last 3 homework assignments, or I'm in a fight with mom, or, you know, me and dad aren't getting along, I come out to practice, I'm not going to be super focused. I'm not going to be carefree. I'm not going to be having fun. You know, once I take care of everything in the classroom, if I got a job, I'm getting to work on time, whatever mom or dad are asking of me at home, as long as I got all those responsibilities, you know, dotting my T's, crossing my I's, or vice versa, I guess, dotting my I's, crossing my T's, you know, then I'm going out to practice, and all I have is football right now. For the next 2.5, 3 hours, I can focus on football, and everything else is taken care of. I studied for that test, just got my homework turned in, got my you know, report card back. I'm a 3.5 or higher type kid, or, you know, if a 2.9 is your best effort and that's what you're working hard for, you know, then celebrate that. Be happy with that. Be satisfied. Not everybody's going to get a 4.0, and as long as you're doing your best in everything, we're okay with that, and you're taking care of your stuff in the classroom, and we'd love to have you around at football. That way you can give everything you got to the team, okay? So like I said, faith, family, football. Football's going to be last. You can put those two together, but we're building men, and that's what I'm here to do. And I've said before, you know, if I didn't think I could come in and impact this program in a positive way and impact these guys in a positive light, I wouldn't have taken the job, and I wouldn't have been that interested. So that's what I'm here to do. And you take care of that side of things, the wins get real easy, and we start racking them up as we have in the past here, okay? Our priorities as players, I wanted to address. You know, we kind of had a short staff meeting yesterday. It was the first time I got to meet the staff as a whole. You know, I was very impressed by what I've seen so far. We had a 7-on-7 scrimmage at where were we at? Harrison yesterday against a couple different teams, and you know, everybody was giving input, everybody was coaching. I felt like the energy level was pretty good. I had a 15 chest bump minimum I had to get from our players before the end of the day, meaning we had to do something that was outstanding 15 times at least. We could celebrate and have fun that way. I ended up getting to like 23, and then I stopped jumping because I am older than I look, and my knees started hurting a little bit. But as far as us as a program going forward, and I explained this to our guys and some of the people yesterday, you know, Walled Lake Western was here a long time before me. It's going to be here a long time after me, same as all these players. You know, we had a great coach, legendary Coach Leave, who had a ton of success, one of the most successful coaches maybe in MHSAA history, you know, and that might have hit the panic button for a lot of people. But, you know, he left, that job sat vacant for 5 months, and as I explained, here we are. Walled Lake Western didn't go anywhere, the football program didn't go anywhere, and the kids didn't go anywhere. All those great kids that accomplished that stuff are still here. I'm fortunate enough to step in and take the reins, so to speak. You know, and in my eyes, from what I've seen so far, it's kind of like I got the keys to a hot rod, and now I just can't screw it up for us. But, you know, we're excited going forward. But obviously our goal is a state championship. And that's what I'm here to do, being a first-year head coach, being young. You know, you know, being young, you know, for a while now, it's been one of those things that, you know, he's young. I don't know if he can do it, the discipline side, things like that. I don't know if he can handle the responsibilities. And like I said, I've been on a sideline my whole life. You want to talk about it, experience on a sideline, I might be one of the most experienced ones around. You know, I was born between two-a-days in the summer. My dad came from practice, wasn't very impressed, and went back for the second half of the practice that day. So came and saw me later, but it's a true story. So, you know, I've been around the game forever. My father-in-law is a Hall of Fame coach. He's the winningest coach in Michigan Tech football history up in the UP. He brought that program back single-handedly. They were about to fold it. He and a handful of guys personally went out, raised money, found boosters, brought that program back. They get down to something like 13 players because everybody transferred out to finish their career somewhere else. Okay, by the next year, they split a GLIAC championship with Grand Valley State. Coach Dooley knows them a little bit. A guy named Dan Metlack, quarterback, stuck around and worked pretty hard, and he ended up being a finalist for the Harlan Hill Award, which is the Heisman Trophy of Division II. So, you know, he grinded. He's a very high-character guy, high-class guy, and I was fortunate enough to be surrounded by those type of coaches my whole life, and that's what this program is going to be going forward, okay? High character, high class. You know, biggest thing I was proud of yesterday wasn't the touchdowns we threw, interceptions we got, you know, coverages we had. We didn't have one guy get chippy yesterday, okay? Nobody was in somebody else's face, pushing, shoving. You know, the standard we set right when we got there was if you're talking to somebody else that's not in blue and white, you're not focused on our team enough, okay? And you can go take that somewhere else. Our program's going to worry about us. We're going to put Walled Lake Western football first. And if you're ever in a position, player-wise, where, you know, if I got 99 guys doing it the right way, but you're the one guy that's giving Walled Lake Western football a bad name, you put yourself above the team, and we're going to have a serious discussion on how much being part of this program means to you. You know, basically, it's not, you know, Josh or Nate or Sam or Spence or whoever being a jerk or fooling around in class or being disrespectful. It's that Walled Lake Western football players being disrespectful. And you just gave 99 guys out of our 100 a bad name, and they've done everything right, and they've done it the right way. And that's just the way we're going to carry the program going forward. We're going to set a very high standard academically, you know, socially, try to get involved as we can. I'm a very big proponent of multiple sports. You know, as far as recruiting and things goes, people get worried about that. You know, and I've explained in the past, coaches can only have so much contact with you in the off season, certain days, and can only see you so many times. They're coaching during the year. But, you know, you're a basketball player, you're a wrestler, you run track, you play baseball. Those guys can come watch you. and now they get to see you in a totally different element. They get to evaluate you as an athlete, not just as a football player, and they love that. You know, Coach Harbaugh has his academies and quarterback camps and things at U of M. They bring in the best players from around the country, and at the last hour of camp, they got to play dodgeball, softball, soccer, you know, and he gets those guys out of their comfort zone to see how good of athletes they are. You know, sport specialization, okay, you know, sure, it might have some benefits, but I think the negatives far outweigh the benefits. And at the same time, you're only in high school once. You only get to play with your friends that you grew up with for 4 years and compete with those guys as many times as you can. You know, obviously, make sure you're taking care of your body maintenance, nutritionally, you're taking care of yourself, but go ahead and play as many sports as you want. You know, I want to have a great relationship with the other programs here, and that's how we want to carry ourselves going forward. So I hope we're all on the same page with that. My goals as a coach, I kind of already talked about. I want to make great men, great people, and in turn, great football players. And great football players are what we're going to use to get back to that state championship. You know, I'm a young, first-year coach, just met the staff. You know, all that aside, our goal remains the same. We got a huge game in a couple months here against one of the perennial powers in the state. I couldn't be more excited. We got nothing to lose. Pressure's on them. I want to go into that game free, excited, as the underdog, build that roll up, and we're going to hype that game up, and it's going to mean a lot more to us than it will be to them. By that time, we're all going to believe we can win that game because that's what it's going to take, and we're going to give them our best shot. Okay, high expectations, right? We talked about that. And the way we can achieve those high expectations is, and these guys have already heard me say it a lot, focus on what? The little things, right? You're supposed to all say, little things, coach. Right? Focus on the little things. Something as simple as, we're running outside, okay? We're doing 10-yard sprints. You might sprint 9.5 yards. Great. You don't finish all the way through the line. You know, how can you do something 99.9% perfect and just stop that last 0.1%. You know, we got to the field yesterday. Everybody kind of had our helmets thrown down. That's not how state championship teams carry themselves. We got our helmets lined up. We've got our bags lined up. Our breaks got a lot cleaner. Sam was holding people accountable, him and Zach, in and out of the huddle. And everything we do needs to be a state championship caliber. You know, the way we carry ourselves, the way we jog on the field. We don't walk on the field. We jog on, jog off. I stopped a group of our guys and just had them look at Farmington Hills Harrison all walking off the field, poor body language, you know, maybe some of them wanted to be somewhere else. State championship teams don't carry themselves like that. We're going to set the standard. We're going to set the standard for the state, and when we come somewhere, when we leave, other coaches should be able to see you need to be more like them, and that's my goal. Questions that we may have parent-wise that I'm going to try to answer right now. You know, what's happening with the staff might be a big one. Nothing's happening with the staff. We need about 1 or 2 more coaches to fill some holes. Like I said, I'm very happy to what I walked into. These guys have obviously been doing it a long time and have been very successful. Coach Weisskopf's had a huge part to do with that. Give him a hand because he's been pretty busy the last couple months. And, you know, I guess the number one thing that I took out of that meeting yesterday was that every single one of these guys had an opinion, and that's great because now I know that every single one of them are emotionally invested in this program. They're not here just to do it. They're not here just to go through the emotions. They're here because they care, and we're all on the same page. We want the same goal. There wasn't a doubt in any coach's mind yesterday that our expectation was to be at the top, and we're going to do the work on our end in order to achieve that. As far as coach-player relationship goes, I want these guys to be able to come to me about anything, you know, football-related or not. I want to, you know, get along with them. I want to know about them. I want to get to know them, what makes them tick, what's going on at home, you know, who your girlfriend is, what's your favorite subject, where you want to go to school, and those are things I'll be able to do in the next couple months here. At the same time, we're short on time, so we got to really get after it. We changed the way we lifted a little bit today. You know, I think a couple guys sweat a little more than they were used to in there. But like I said, that's the caliber a championship team needs to operate at. You know, little things like it's hard. Yeah, it's hot. We wanted it to be hot. We wanted it to be hard. Because, you know what? It's going to be about 105 degrees on the turf at Wayne State in a couple months from now, and it's real easy to be fresh and hyper at the beginning of the game and come out and play real hard, but games aren't won in the first quarter or the second quarter. It comes down to who's got the guts to go down and get it late in the fourth quarter. We're going to be that team that doesn't go away. You know, thing I explained to these guys, I was never the most athletic. I was never the most talented. I was always a very smart player, but my confidence on the football field just came from my work ethic. I knew without a doubt I outworked that guy across from me 5 days a week, all summer long. He might be lifting more than me, maybe twice as much as me in the weight room. But the effort he was putting into lifting that weight didn't match the effort I was putting into lifting the weight I was lifting. We need to operate that at all times. Everything we do, the way we carry ourselves, the way we do our homework, the way we talk to our parents, the way we address our teachers, it needs to be at the top, okay? You know, I told a story to these guys. I said, and we've all been there, parents, I'm sure you've been there, might have a deadline for work or going back to your school days. You know, who's had a paper, deadline, project, you know, some sort of thing that they put off. Well, I'd known about this for 3 months, and I put it off till the very end, okay? And my question to them was, how can we put something off for 3 months? All of a sudden, the due date's tomorrow. This is an 8-page paper. You know, not that that's happened to me in college once or twice, but we got this 8-page paper doing 12 hours. How can I magically get this paper whipped out and get a pretty good grade on it when I couldn't even start it for 3 months? And the short question is, I had to. When you convince yourself you have to do something, okay, I'm not going to lie. I didn't really want to get out of bed at 5:30 this morning, get out here at 6:30 and be ready to go, but I had to. So I hopped out of bed, got in the shower, and got going. When you convince yourself you have to do something, it's incredible how your mind takes over and your body and that motivation comes. We need to convince ourselves we have to win a state championship. I have to hold myself accountable. I have to be responsible. I have to be respectful. I have to be intense. I have to be passionate. And it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take a little grind this summer, but we're going to get to that point where coming together as a team is something we have to do, okay? And that's the message we're going to be sending. We're united on that front as coaches. You know, carrying this legacy forward and improving it is something that I have to do. I've convinced myself of that from the second I walked into the interview. It was something I wanted. You know, I had to do really well in that interview. There was other guys applying for the job that were coming in after me. You know, walking in, I said, I just have to be better than everybody else. And it worked out pretty well, and here I am, and I couldn't be happier. So as far as, you know, issues I'm going to address and focus on, I don't think X's and O's, obviously talent is not our issues. You know, those things aren't why we lost to Livonia Franklin last year, got upset as most people would say. And Livonia Franklin wound up in the state championship game. They weren't pushovers, but they were pretty good. Comes down to what's more important. And in our staff meeting yesterday, you know, I kind of wrote it as a fraction. And I wrote it 2 ways. Put state championships on top on one side and scholarships on the bottom. And then I put scholarships on top on the other side and state championships on the bottom. If it's about I and me, we don't have a chance. To beat Catholic Central, to beat Lowell, to beat Detroit King, we all got to be on the same page. And the #1 priority in our program is a state championship. As soon as it becomes about me or I or why am I not getting the ball, why am I not catching the touchdown pass, why am I not the starting quarterback, why aren't I a starting guard, your priorities are backwards. You know, and there's probably a pretty good reason you're not. And I'll tell you right now, in this program going forward, the #1 reason you're not is because your attitude. Because you're about you, okay? I'll go to the ends of the earth and track down every college coach I know, and I know a ton across the country from my father-in-law, my dad's relationships, my brother's on the staff, or brother-in-law's on the staff at U of M. We can get in there. I'll go to anybody and beat down the door to get you noticed and do anything I can to help you get recruited, and I have no problem making calls and chasing coaches around. You know, being able to work at the Legacy program, we get coaches walking in and out of there all the time with those relationships. I'll do all that stuff. But you got to prove to me you bought into our program. Because the last thing I'm going to do is go to a college coach I know and say, hey, I got this great kid, doesn't care about the team at all. You know, he don't care if we win or not, but he's got a scholarship, and you should take a look at him. Those words aren't going to come out of my mouth. You know, I'll say something like, I got this kid that will do anything for his team. He has great grades. He's super respectful. I've never had a problem with him. He needs to be on your team. You all of a sudden, now it's, no, coach, you have to have this kid. You have to offer this kid because he's that good. He bought in and he did everything I said. We want you to go to college. We want you to get scholarships. We want you to be great. We want you to have a good career. I'd love to see all you in the NFL. You know, push comes to shove. That's not the truth. That's not going to happen. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with being a fantastic high school football player, a fantastic teammate. I was fortunate enough to go to the state semifinals my senior year. We lost 6-0 to Orchard Lake St. Mary's. Every time I see anybody from my team in high school, it's immediately what they talk about. It ended real sad, but that run we made together, we came together like brothers because there's 55 guys that wanted nothing to do more than to make their team good. Whether my role is being the best scout player I can or just clapping and cheering loud, okay, we can't be jealous of each other. It can't be, you know, whether you were here your whole life, you were a Brave, you came up, you're from the area, or you just happened to move in recently and you're new to the program, you know, you chose to come here. You chose to put these colors on. And I'm taking it, if you made that choice, you chose to put Walled Lake Western's football program before your own needs. Okay? You know, I don't want to get long-winded. What time I got? How am I doing, Coach? Am I doing all right? Okay. You know, and what I've liked that I've seen so far, you know, not to pick on anybody, but where's Sam at? First of all, you should be in the front. You're the quarterback, starting quarterback, returner. You should be right up here in the center. Thank you. That's okay. But my first impression on him, and I didn't know what to really expect. I saw him play on film. I was at South Lyon last year. My first impression of him, I came out to the field right away on Tuesday morning, and the first thing he did, he walked on the field with a big smile on his face. The linemen were doing some conditioning, agility stuff, gave him a big hug. He went down and threw on the other side of the field, and every couple minutes he'd stop and turn around and kind of bark at those guys to motivate. What I saw was a leader. I saw somebody that cared about his teammates, that was invested in his teammates, and wanted his teammates to be successful. We all need to get on that page, okay? It can't be he's got a scholarship and I don't. That sucks. I'm mad. I hope he doesn't catch a touchdown pass. One thing that kind of irked me yesterday is one of our coaches said, you know what was sad last year? We had kids catching touchdown passes and the other receivers weren't celebrating because they didn't catch it. You think state champions act like that? Absolutely not. Okay, you think the Patriots act like that? Michigan State's act like that? You got a receiver at state, right, from Walled Lake. He did all right. They don't act like that. And it's going to take some convincing, but we need to all be on the same page and be a united front from the freshman program all the way up to the varsity program. So like I said, the scholarship has to be, or state championship rather, has to be above the scholarship, okay? Scholarships are not a requirement to win a state championship, okay? Stats are not a requirement to win a state championship. Individualism isn't a requirement to win a state championship, okay? TCC is something I was introduced to in college, okay? The championship culture, okay? It also means trust, commitment, care. Can I trust you to be committed to the program, to care enough to do it the right way? Okay? And you can say it the other way around. Do you care enough to be committed so that we trust you? And if I don't trust you, if you're not doing the little things right, if you can't finish a dynamic warm-up the right way, how in the heck can I put you on the defense, expect you to read 2, looking at 3, and fill in C gap? You can't even jog past the line all the way. That's the little things. That's not caring enough. It's not your athletic ability, it's your effort. You don't care enough to do it the right way. You're a little tired. You feel sorry for yourself a little bit. But like we learned today in the weight room, everybody felt that. And after we brought them in and barked a little bit, these guys went nuts, and I had to stop them from doing wall sits just because we were in there too long. We had to get out to the field. We had about 6 guys that refused to drop, doing about a 15-minute wall sit after passing a 45-pound plate back and forth for a half hour. It was pretty impressive, and the turnaround was like that. So it was great stuff. So TCC is something we're going to get painted up somewhere in the locker room or in the field house, whatever we got in the weight room. Trust, commitment, care. And you guys can check yourselves like that. Leadership, okay? Leaders. Do you have the intestinal fortitude to go up to your friend and say, you know what? You're not doing it the right way. You're not giving me everything you got, okay? And does that person on the opposite end of that, are they mature enough to handle that and say, you're right. My bad, you're right. I'm gonna turn it on right now, okay? Last bit of motivational piece I'll give you and we'll move on is we got a clean slate. My impression of these guys have been the last couple days, okay? Anything that I've seen is my first impression. It's a lasting impression, and sometimes it takes you a little while to break that. So I hope you've set a good impression, right? But it comes down to, what do I want to do? It doesn't matter what I was like. I might be the biggest jerk in school for the last 3 years, but you know, it's my senior year. I'm going to decide right now when I get out of bed that I'm just going to be a better person. I'm going to respect mom and dad a little bit more. I'm going to help them around the house. I'm going to do some extra chores. My buddy's struggling in school. He's on my football team. We need him around. I'm going to go help him and tutor him instead of playing Fortnite. Okay, and you have that choice every single day. It takes some maturity. A lot of kids develop this false sense of security for themselves that they think I'm the bully or I'm the class clown, and now every time I'm in school, everybody expects me to be the clown, so I got to live up to that expectation. I got to get the teacher to yell. No, you don't. No, you don't. You can decide right now that you're the most mature guy in that class because your goals or ambitions are so much bigger than what your classmates think about you that you're going to do whatever it takes to reach the top. And if you're not helping yourself reach the top, you're just hurting yourself, and you might as well be on the other team. It's going to take every single one of us to want to reach the top, okay? I lied. I got one more thing to say about motivation. Time spent versus time invested. We need you to invest your time into the Walled Lake Western football program. That's parents, brother, sister, mom, dad, everybody, you know, all you players, obviously. You need to be invested in here. Okay, the way you invest time is bettering yourself. Okay, the way you spend time is playing Fortnite, staying on Snapchat, okay, playing video games, looking at Facebook, whatever you do. That's time spent. Okay, time spent's never going to help you in the long run. It's the time you invest in yourself studying. Was I the best student? I'm going to be honest. I wasn't a great student. Okay, true story. I went to college. I was 17 years old, played against Michigan Tech as a 17-year-old, running down the field wide-eyed, not knowing what was going on. But, hey, I was 500 miles away from home. I had no parental supervision. Life was good, okay, until that report card came at the end of the semester. Mom and Dad took my car away, told me if I do that again, I don't need to get into what my GPA was, but they told me, took my car away. My coach sat me down. He said, you do this again, you're gone. Your scholarship's gone. That free ride at school's gone. It took, you know, a little shock of reality that, shoot, I need to do better. I need to raise my expectation. My standard for how I operate needs to get higher, okay? And the rest of the way out, my GPA was pretty darn good all the way till I went and got my degree and moved on from there, okay? I made a choice to change. You have a choice to change whatever's been going on in your life, okay? You might not get along with anyone just because you want to be that loner type guy or you want to be that class clown or, you know, you don't think that you're a starter. We got no positions right now. There is absolutely no depth chart. I haven't been here long enough to have a depth chart. I'm definitely going to listen to what my coaches have to say, but at the end of the day, it's my decision. And you have an opportunity right now as a program to set that standard for yourself, reevaluate how you've been living and the choices you've been making, and raise that to that state championship caliber. Time invested versus time spent. If we invest more time than the time we spend, we're just going to keep improving, okay? And that's all I got to say about that. We'll move on a little bit. Okay, as far as the calendar goes, parents, I'm sure there's a ton of questions. Our players have been asking us a ton of questions. We had a camp scheduled for this past week, and we obviously didn't get to do that. We're going to set that date very soon. I'm on, full day 2 and we're going to evaluate some things. We had that scrimmage yesterday, so going forward, we'll have that date very soon, quick as possible, and we'll communicate that with everybody and give you enough time to make sure you're around for it, okay? And I think that might be it. So, if anybody, I appreciate everybody coming. I know it was late notice. I just wanted to give you a little dose of me, get you a name to the face, so you know what I'm about. And at the end of the day, these kids are going to walk out of here. I was asked if a player comes back in a couple years and he has 3 things that you can say he took from your football program. We're going to be high class, high character people. Those ones are easy, and I couldn't think of the right word for the third one, okay? And I would just come up with resilient. We're going to be very resilient. Whatever's thrown at us, we're going to be able to handle. Because we're going to be able to, our habits will be that of such successful people that no matter what life throws at us, we can handle it. Okay? Adversity don't give you a warning. Adversity don't knock on the door and say, hey, I'm going to come back in a week, get ready, get this planned out. Adversity hits you in the mouth. We found that out, a couple weeks ago, right, as a program. You can't plan for that stuff. But how do we adjust? How do we adapt? How do we overcome? And high character, okay, high class, resilient. These guys come back in 10 years, playing under me and under this program. Every single person could say that and agree with it. That's a very high character kid. He's a hard worker, and he's resilient. No matter what life throws at him, he's going to be successful because of what he learned at the Walled Lake Western football program. And I'll end it right there. If you didn't hear that, FCA party, Coach Diaz's house at the pool, Monday at what? Noon to 3 o'clock. So just so everybody knows that, we can throw that in the calendar as well. I'm going to try to make it out with my little ones, let them run around. My kids are going to fall in love with all these players. They want to be around. My son was 6 years old, following me on the sideline. They weren't Dad's players. They were his friends. Hey, Dad, I want to go see my friends when we go into practice. So FCA Monday. And did you want to speak about the pink out game tonight, or you're good? Okay. All right. And everybody got my number and email, correct? Okay. We can wrap it up, I believe. 6:30 a.m. tomorrow, okay? Attendance-wise, as far as that discipline stuff goes, I told these guys, we start at 6:30. That doesn't mean show up at 6:29 and start putting your shoes on. That means my whistle's blowing at 6:30 and the weight's moving at 6:30. You come at 6:31, the door's going to be shut. You can wait for us out on the grass when that session's over. I don't care who you are, what you done, what scholarship you got, where you're going. Those are the standards of Walled Lake Western football, and if you can't follow those, it's going to be tough to get some scholarships because you're not going to be around very long, okay? Get on time. It's part of being responsible. Yes, but going forward, I'm glad, Coach, you saved me there. Okay, going forward. Okay, next week, starting next week, obviously the following week, that first week of July is the dead week for all MHSAA. We can't have any contact with the players. But starting next Monday, we're going to go 7 to 9, and I want everybody there, okay? Like I said, I didn't like waking up at 5:30 that much, but, okay, we're going to go at 7 to 9. We'll go linemen on the field, skills in the weight room, or vice versa for an hour, and get out, maybe throw a little bit afterwards, okay? 7 to 9 starting next Monday. Again, tomorrow's at 6:30. Okay, be there 6:20. Get yourself woke up because we're going to get after it as soon as the bell tolls, as they say. Yep. You understand, boys? Accountability, okay? At the end of the day, it's your senior year, your varsity football year. You only get 2 years, most of you, to play varsity. You know, things go well, I'm going to be here a long time after you. This is your year, your class. We got to hold everybody accountable as players. It means a lot more coming from you than it ever will from me. They'll listen to you a lot more than they'll listen to me. You know, you're with them a lot more than I am. It's your team, okay? I'm just controlling it right now and going forward, but it's your team, your buddies, your players. Get them there, okay? Get them there. Just tell them, hey, I bet you CC's there, okay? Bet you CC ain't having that problem. And that's week one. That's when we're going to shock the world as a program and open the eyes of everybody here, all right?